Howdy there folks, I'm Quinn of Snazzy Labs and this is the video review on the ROCOO P Audiophile music player. Now this is available for $179 US, which in the audiophile player market is a screaming deal. And I'll tell you why in this video. Obviously we're going to talk about the sound, but I do want to talk about what not only comes with the player, but the player's user interface as well. Now, when you buy an audiophile music player, music really is the only focus. There is no games, there are no apps, there are not even basic note applications or anything like. This thing plays music and that is it. Nothing else. It has a very, very small black and white OLED display, certainly nothing to look at, but the design is quite nice. Now, as you can see already, this thing is going to be a mecca for fingerprints, and it is. Fingerprints, even dust, just shows up like crazy on this, but it does look really, really hot. It's a beautiful player designed out of brushed aluminum. It's all like a one solid piece design. It's very, very beautifully constructed, but you do have to be aware that, you're going to get tons of fingerprints on this. Nice design, but I wish they would have done away with that. Now, what you're also going to find in the box is some information and literature. Now, hisoundaudio is a bizarre company. They are a Chinese company that is just really entering not even the American market, but any market outside of China. They're a pretty small company, and they don't even have a web store. In order to buy one of these, you need to email them, and they'll send you a PayPal request. It's a little bit odd, but I can assume that in the next couple months, they'll start to get their act together and get an actual online web store. But right now, you do need to email them. So the stuff you get is kind of bizarre. You have a little VIP card, which I don't know what it does because I cannot read Chinese. You also have a Chinese registration card for the warranty. I believe it comes with a 1-year warranty, which is nice to see. And you have a manual that comes in Chinese as well as English, which is obviously quite nice. Now, what you're also going to find in the box is a pair of PAA1 earbuds. These look just terrible. They look awful, but people on HeadFi say that for $20 headphones, they sound pretty awesome. So that's nice to see that you get a decent pair of earbuds with your already cheap $180 player. Now, what you're also going to find in here is a US adapter so that you can plug it into the wall. And last but certainly not least, you are going to find a mini USB cord. Now, as I stated, it is mini USB. This is how you sync and charge the player. What you're also going to find here is a micro SD slot on the bottom. Now, it does come with 4 gigabytes of internal memory, but it's expandable to 64. I'm currently rocking a 32 gigabyte micro SDXC card, and it works great. Now, what you're going to find on the top is a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack and a reset button, which you pretty much never need to use. I needed to use it to update my firmware, but that's about it. On the back, you have the logo, some other information, this really, really hot, glossy look, but again, a mecca for fingerprints. Now, the user interface is all music, and I'm not going to talk about it too extensively because sound is really where this thing shines. It takes a couple of seconds to initialize if you have a micro SD card in here, as I do. However, the menu system is pretty basic. There's now playing, music, source manager, which is just basically a file explorer, and settings. Now, if you go into settings, there's not a whole lot of options. There is an equalizer, but it's not very good. There's no custom EQs, and they only have a couple of presets. And to be 100% honest, they all sound awful. Nature is the default, and nature is where I leave it, not just because that's where it sounds good, but it sounds excellent, and you don't need to change it because it really just tampers with the noise and not for the better. They got it right with the first EQ, which is nature. Now, as you can see, the camera is kind of blotching here. This is the refresh rate on the actual OLED display. It doesn't look like that in real life, just on the camera. You can set a couple of other options like the language, time off settings, yada, yada, yada. But what we want to look at is the music. Now, it does play a myriad of different files, WAV, FLAC, AAC, a couple of others, obviously MP3. And it uses the metadata in the files to organize by artist, album, genres, year, favorite. It doesn't do a perfect job, especially with FLAC files. It does some weird stuff like this kind of weird folder stuff here. But as I have a relatively small library on this device, I don't care too much about the way it's organized. There's no album artwork or anything of the sort. It's just pretty much the song. Now, once you've found the song you want to listen to or the band, you can find the album. We're going to click their original album, Engineers, and you can press play. Now, the play screen is very, very basic. You can go volume up, volume down, and you can scrub or skip tracks by holding these buttons. There's a replay or a repeat. There's a couple of other things, but really it is a very, very basic menu, and there's not a whole lot to it. To power off the device, you just hold this down for a couple of seconds. It says bye-bye, and you're good to go. Now, obviously, with a player like this, you want to know how it sounds. And I'm happy to report that it sounds fantastic. In fact, it blew my mind. It destroyed my Zune, and in fact, it even destroys the Cowan S9, which is pretty highly spoken of in the audiophile community. Now, it's not going to be the likes of the Hi-Fi Man H602 or the 802 or a couple of other players on the market, but keep in mind those are $700-800. This is $170. It's truly an amazing audiophile player. I'm going to talk about the different spectrums. Mids are phenomenal. They're the bomb on the ROCOO. They're very, very forward and accentuated without being overbearing. There's crazy clarity and amazing vocal subtleties. One thing that I noticed was in the Foo Fighters Come Alive, I was listening on my Sleek Audio CT7s, and I could actually hear Dave Grohl open his lips. Like, I heard that. I had never heard it in the track before, but I heard that on the ROCOO P, and it was absolutely amazing, mind-blowing that I could hear that. It was phenomenal. Rock is amazing. Guitar is shredding. There's excellent resolution. Mids are fantastic. I mean, they're layered to allow for detailed listening, and they're really just fun to listen to as well. I mean, you can get really technical with them. This will allow for technical listening, but it also is available for fun listening as well. And the trebles are excellent too. I mean, the mids are not all that's good on this device. They're really energetic and accentuated, but they're not fatiguing. You know, they're not overbearing. They're not overwhelming like you'll find in a lot of other players and a lot of other headphones. Now, decay is short, which I could have... You know, I like a little bit more decay than the ROCOO P offers, but the decay on here is really, really natural, which I usually do not find in cheaper audiophile players. So that was nice to see. It was fast, energetic. Highs were awesome. You know, they were not as good as the mids, but they were very, very good. Lows were near perfect. It's very, very rare that you find lows in a cheap player that sound this good. They were very, very separated. They had an assertive impact. I mean, the bass was strong on here. They rumbled when you needed them to, but they also were hushed up when you needed them to. They followed the track. They were not exaggerated. They were not accentuated. They sounded fantastic. They sounded like they needed to sound. They were well controlled. They didn't interfere. And, you know, that's where I think this Class A amplifier inside this little player really, really shines. Vocal reproduction, as I mentioned before, was fantastic. The soundstage is really quite wide. Now, it obviously depends on the headphones you're using. If you're rocking an in-ear monitor like the PAA ones or like the Clarity C1s as I have here, a review on these will come out soon. You know, Soundstage is pretty awesome for an earbud, but actually Soundstage was even reproduced pretty well on a full-sized headphone. The Hi-Fi Man HE300s did a really, really excellent job at producing that. We're kind of zoomed in close, but it did do a really, really good job at reproducing that soundstage we're used to in these headphones. And it even drove my brand new Sennheiser HD650, which any audiophile knows is a power-hungry headphone. It didn't open them to the full the full capacity. I believe the impedance on this is only 100 ohms. However, they really did power them quite nicely, and I was never like, wow, this is really bad. It was pleasant. It was nice to listen to. I did not prefer it over my desktop setup, but it was good nonetheless. Now, it has fantastic separation in terms of instruments, and imaging is really, really good. I mean, this player is out of this world good. Now, I was getting a lot of questions from people saying, well, Quinn, if I have cheaper headphones like the Klipsch S4i or like I don't know, the Koss Pro DJ100, will this benefit? Will I benefit from this? And should I get this, or should I just stick to my iPod Touch and get something like the FIO E7 or the FIO E11 or the Digizoid Zo or a couple of other amplifiers on the market? And I do have to say that the sound reproduction on here with this Class A amplifier is second to none. This really just does sound fantastic. You have the ability to put really high quality files on here, which is awesome. And I think the ROCOO P really knocked it out of the park, not just for the sound quality, but for the price. At $179, you got to pay like 50 bucks more for this than you would, you know, the FIO E7 or the E11. But the sound quality you get out of this is amazingly good, and you don't have to tether it to your device. It's its own standalone player. It's small, it's petite, it has excellent construction, battery life is really, really good. I could not speak any more highly of this. This knocked it out of the park. I love this, and I can absolutely recommend it, which is why I'm giving it the Snazzy Labs Approved Award. I'm Quinn of Snazzy Labs. The ROCOO P, yeah, it's not for everyone. It's for audiophiles, it's for nerds who want to hear everything as it's supposed to be heard. But yeah, you know, this is worth it. Even if you have cheaper headphones, over $50, over $60, this will have a decipherable difference from your computer, from your iPod Touch, even from your iPhone with a FIO E7 or an amplifier in that class. This really does a good job. I love it, and I know that if you order a ROCOO P, you'll love it as well. I'm Quinn of Snazzy Labs. Thank you so much for watching my review on the ROCOO P Audiophile player. It's available from hisoundaudio.com for $179 US. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, rate, comment. My voice is getting tired. My words are getting slurred. And as always, stay snazzy. See you later, folks.